Being the hour of 7 o'clock, we'll open the Selectmen's Meeting of September 10th. Before I begin with the agenda items, I'm going to ask for a moment of silence. As you know, this week we're celebrating I shouldn't say we should be celebrating. We should be cognizant of the fact that 12 years ago, we had the 9/11 attack on the Pentagon as well as the Twin Towers. So tomorrow is the 12th anniversary, and I ask for you to remember those victims and remember the families. Thank you. First item on the agenda is a presentation of a certificate of recognition, and I understand there's going to be several presentations this evening. First of all, I'd like to call Bob forward, if you would, Bob. Good evening.
Good evening.
Certificate of recognition presented to Robert J. Shedd. We extend heartfelt thanks and appreciation and wish to recognize the many ways that you have assisted the town of Oxford over the years. You are what is often referred to as an unsung hero. Today, September 10th, 2013, we would like to acknowledge some of the ways that you have enriched our community. We thank you for your service on Oxford's Bicentennial Committee, during which you compiled a complete record of the Oxford celebration and donated it to the town. You were also involved with the Bicentennial Wagon Train, which came through Oxford at that time. We thank you for gathering and attractively organizing the extensive collection of historic artifacts and documents located in the Oxford Public Library to create the library's museum. It is our understanding that even today you search historic sites on the internet to find Oxford memorabilia, which you then donate to the town for preservation. In addition, we thank you for your service as a civil defense police officer, a member of the Historical Commission, a radio dispatcher, an election worker in Precinct 1, a member of the Charles Larned Entertainment Fund, and most recently a member of the Board of Registrars. We also understand that you support the community of Oxford by promoting several causes via your computer and telephone, which are important to you and the town. Also, that you are supportive of projects undertaken by the Masons of Oxford, that you are currently volunteering for Access Oxford, and that you have established a library and serve as church historian for the Oxford United Methodist Church. Therefore, the current Board of Selectmen and Town Manager join with the citizens and organizations of Oxford to express our sincere gratitude. Board of Selectmen, Town Manager. Congratulations, Bob. At this time, I'd like to ask our elected representative and senator if you might come forward to the speaker. You want to stand here?
As soon as the town manager fixes the controls, what's that, for the weather?
That's a little more humid than I expected.
Well, Representative Fatman and I think maybe Representative Frost at some point in the evening, want to come here to, not only does Oxford recognize you, but the Commonwealth does. It comes Representative Frost now making a grand appearance. You wanted the audience here, Representative? However, I understand not only is this a week of national significance, that I believe on Thursday it's Bob's, must be 39th birthday. So also happy birthday on our behalf. But this is, it's really a pleasure to recognize someone who has volunteered and done so much in the community. I think just about every place that I visit in the community, Bob's been there, whether it's the Masonic Home or the Senior Center or Isidore's organic deli or whatever it might be, Bob's there, and so I don't think he misses very much that goes on. And it's important, really, to have someone in the community who not only attends all of these functions, but helps to record them so that there is a record of some of the things going on, and especially during the 300th anniversary year, but even at other times as well. So I'm pleased to present to you, Bob, a citation from the Massachusetts Senate in recognition of your dedicated volunteer service on numerous town committees, assisting with projects and conducting extensive research on the history of Oxford for all generations to enjoy. And it's signed by our President, Therese Murray, and offered by myself as the Senator for Oxford, Dick Moore. Congratulations.
We too have a citation from the House of Representatives, and just very briefly wanted to tell a quick story about Bob. Back in November 2011, I learned that I was going to be taking, or hopefully be taking, the southern half of Oxford and redistricting, and called Joe and introduced myself to him. And a few days later on Facebook, Bob Shedd reaches out to me, and he said, I heard about redistricting and I'd like to get together. I'd like to introduce you to some people and let you get to know the town. And ever since, Bob has been pretty much my social secretary for the town of Oxford, telling me when to go to the Huguenot Festival, the Fall Festival, and keeping me up to date on just about everything. I always am reminded of a quote for someone like Bob by Winston Churchill. And he said that what one gets is how they make a living, what one gives is how they make a life. This man, through what I've seen in my short year of knowing him as a friend, has given so much to the community of Oxford. And they are truly indebted and also very appreciative. And that's why we're here tonight. So I'm going to read the citation on behalf of Representative Frost and myself from the House of Representatives. Be hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Robert Shedd in recognition of his many years of dedication to the town of Oxford. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. Given this 10th day of September 2013, signed by the Speaker of the House, Robert DeLeo, myself, and Representative Frost, and you deserve it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Selectmen, and to the entire town of Oxford. As the state representative who has been representing a part of Oxford for now going on 17 years, and now have the north end, because I've been pushed to the north now for the first time, but proud to represent that area, and just want to say congratulations. Thank you for all that you do for the community and have done for the community. I know the Oxford 300th is here as well. I see Alan over here, and I know he put a lot of work into it, and I know he knows you've done a ton of work for Oxford 300th, but you've seen you at so many other events as well, and been doing so many different things for the community. So just want to say thank you. I guess the senator said you got a birthday coming up, so happy birthday. We won't ask you for your age, and I think I don't have any Winston Churchill quotes for you, but I'll just say that thank you very, very, very much. We need more folks like you who are active and involved in their community and do so to make a difference and to improve the quality of life for all the citizens of this community. So God bless you. Thank you for your work, and I hope you keep it up. Thank you so very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Let me give Bob ours.
Ever since I moved to Oxford in 1960, I've loved the town. I've loved doing things for the town, and I think that one of the greatest assets this town has is that there are so many people in Oxford who are willing to use their time and their talents to do things for others. And it's just a joy to be doing things in town. And I thank you very much for all these certificates. Thank you.
Well deserved.
Sure. I didn't know Bob all that well until I got involved with the Oxford 300th, and in that time I've gotten to know him and appreciate everything he's done for the town. I know Alan can speak to, as far as the 300th goes, anything we had going, Bob would throw it out there. Bob was a big donor as far as the fund goes, and that's what, like Bob said, that's what makes the town of Oxford so special. The countless people who volunteer time and time again. I look around this room and I see many of them here. And Bob, I just want to say thank you so much. You've definitely made the town of Oxford a much nicer place to live. Thank you.
Not to elongate, but just want to say thank you. I know what it is to give a lot of your time like you've done, so we really appreciate it. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I hope more people have your feelings. They want to help out. Nice. Nice to hear.
Jared?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you, and I look forward to getting to know you more and working with you in the future. Thank you.
Bob, there's not much more that can be said. I think you've heard it all, and it's come from everybody's heart. Because everybody who knows you know when you do something, you put 100% into it. I know there's been a lot of comments about you helping out with the history and everything and helping the 300th anniversary committee in that regard. But you go back a little further than that, because I can remember as chairman of the 275th,
Yep.
you were involved there too. So you've been around for a while, and you've been dedicating yourself to this community for many, many years, and it's certainly well appreciated. Good luck to you, Bob, in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay. It's always nice to start with something pleasant on the agenda. We sometimes get controversial topics on the agenda, and it makes for a stressful evening. But this is a positive thing, and hopefully this will carry through our whole meeting. Let's hope so. The next item on the agenda is Eugene McKay from the Historical Commission. Eugene?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
That's a tough act to follow.
Sure is.
But I know him personally, and he's deserving of everything he gets. He's a great guy. I'm going to make mine short, and I've been given the pleasure to simply invite you guys, that's the chairman and the selectmen, and Joe,
Thank you.
to come to our picnic. It's something we're proud of. We do it every year. This is our 8th year. And that we wanted to know that it's up there at Huguenot, the fort. The date is the 15th with a rain date of the 22nd. And we hope that you all take the time to come up and see it. We're pretty proud of it, but we'd like to see your faces up there. And it's a time to relax and enjoy yourself. There's no politics, just have a good time. I think they used to do that. As you'll know, we're going to react some of that, the names and people that were of the past. And so we hope that you come. By the way, there's pastry from the ladies for everybody. And I can't say enough that we'd like to see you, and hope that it's not a rain date. Hope we don't have to use that. But every one of you, okay?
We thank you for
Thank
the
you.
invitation, Gene.
Thanks, Gene.
This has been going on for several years, and it's always been a pleasure to be there, to attend it. And I understand that every year it gets a little bit different up there.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's some more work that's been done up there.
You'll see more of the fort now,
Yeah.
and there'll be a tour of that also. If you really want to get into that part of it. It's our, it's where we came from.
It's our history. Thank you.
If I could add to that, Mr. Chairman, just a reminder for folks, it is September 15th, this Saturday. The event starts at 12, Gene?
Oh, it's Sunday.
Well, I'll correct that. Sunday, September 15th at noon, there'll be a concert. Bring your picnic lunch, enjoy the music. The concert, by the way, is funded by the Oxford Cultural Council. And then that will be followed by a narrated tour. I think the tour starts at 1:15, according to my notes. And it is an annual event brought to you by the fine folks of the Oxford Historical Commission and the Huguenot Memorial Society of Oxford. Thank you for letting me add that. It's one item off my manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. The next item on the agenda is Sean Duvall. He's going to present a proposal for a guide for signs in the community. Mr. Duvall?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You might recall some months ago, the Board of Selectmen asked the DPW to provide for your review and the town manager's review a traffic control and guide sign policy. That was in the context of a request of a local church to erect signs within the publicly owned right-of-way. And at that time, we were also in the process of inventorying all of the signs that we have throughout the town's right-of-ways all throughout town. And there was a thought that we had a whole lot of signs in town, and we needed to enact a policy so that we had some guidance and some procedures for erecting new signs within the publicly owned right-of-way. And I want to also call attention and make a distinction that what we're talking about here is signs that would be within the publicly owned right-of-way, which is essentially the strip of land that's owned by the town that the streets are in, as opposed to private property. Those private signs, those are regulated through the zoning bylaw. And there's also a move to make some amendments to the zoning bylaw to regulate private signs. So you have before you the policy as it's written. I tried to keep it as simple as possible, and I tried to hit on the signs that are most requested, and those would be the cultural recreational guide signs, stop signs, and warning signs. Those are the three that are typically requested. The cultural recreational signs are signs that direct people to areas of interest, cultural interest, churches, dams, picnic areas, athletic fields, that type of thing. Stop signs we know are stop signs, and guide signs would be signs like curve ahead or go slow children type signs. So those are the three main categories I think that we see most often requested, and that's what this policy is written around. It essentially kind of lays out the procedure where a resident would request these types of signs, where they would provide information with the request to the Board of Selectmen. Board of Selectmen would then request information from DPW and Police Department, and if they're in a school zone or have some effect on the schools, an opinion of the superintendent of schools as well. The main point of the sign policy is to direct the sign petitioner and the town to call on the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, or MUTCD for short. That's essentially the federal code that regulates signs throughout the entire country. And that's what I use almost every day and refer to that document every day. It's the, in a sense, it's the national code. And that's why it's for the MUTCD that stop signs are red with white letters and are located where they're located. where stoplight, where traffic control signals are located. It's because of that document. And every other sign and line striping you see on both highways and surface streets. We have, in the past, I'll say, approved the installation of signs that are not in compliance with the MUTCD. And it's generally not a good practice when we do that, because what happens is when we don't comply with the MUTCD and we put up signs where they're not warranted, it breeds contempt for those signs. If you put, say, a stop sign in a location where there shouldn't be a stop sign, often people won't stop for that stop sign. Or they'll find some other way around that stop sign that's poorly placed and could then create some kind of traffic problem on a neighboring street. So, as a matter of policy, I think we should try to stay away from that. Should only put in signs where they're warranted, and that warrant does go back to the MUTCD. We are, I'd say, 95% complete with our sign inventory. When I submitted this memo to the board for the board's review, we were just shy of 2,000 signs inventoried. We are now over 2,000 signs. We were up to 2,073 signs and counting. We still have 3 or 4 streets on the southwest side to go. So we're going to finish with probably over 2,100 signs, probably close to 2,200 signs. And quick math, if you figure the replacement value of a sign is $100, that's a $200,000 liability the town has for signs throughout the town. So clearly, I think as a point of policy, we need to be installing signs that are needed. Signs that are not needed add to that liability for very little benefit.
Would you add, please, for information, the inventory is not just counting the signs, it's locating them with GPS and mapping them, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
So there'll be the GIS map, is that what you call it?
Yes.
Map, they'll be able to pull up stop signs. Where are all the stop signs? Where are all the one-way signs? Where are all the go children slow signs? So it's not just, I don't want you to think that it's taking months to count to 2,000. It's a lot more work involved in that.
I have a map here. It's of small scale, so it doesn't show up very well, but each sign that we've inventoried gets a red dot. It gets placed on this map. I'll pass this around for you to look at. But you can see there's a whole lot of red on here.
Thank you. And the numbers are oh, it says that's sequential, or is that an identifier?
That's an identifier. I don't think Oxford's unique. I think most towns have put out a lot of signs over the years, and one could make the analogy, it's death by a million pinpricks. You put up one sign, it's okay, it's $100, you put it up, it just lives in that one location, it's okay. But when you kind of wrap your arms around this whole thing, you do this GPS inventory and you start assembling this information, you find that it's a lot of labor and materials over the years that have been put out there. And once that sign is placed, now the town has to maintain and replace that sign at some point. We have go children slow signs where there are no children. We have deaf child signs where there are no deaf children anymore. And so we've got to be careful as a matter of policy where we put these signs and what we do with them once they're put up.
Board members? Yes.
Thank you very much, Sean, for this. Looks like a lot of work. But looking at your photos, and it raised a question to me is, it's great. We put up a sign and then does it live there for eternity? Is there some sort of program established where, you periodically either look at the sign and see is it still needed? For example, is the deaf child isn't living in that area anymore, is that sign needed? Or you got some signs here that, you know, embedded in a tree or whatever that you can't see, or you can't see, you know, see the sign because of the overgrowth of the area. Is there some sort of program you have, you know, to check on that and eliminate signs where needed?
Right. But it should be a two-pronged approach. One is to be careful on the actual installation of a new sign, which this policy talks about. The other is checking up on signs, as you've talked about. And what we typically do is when we have some intervention with the street, if it's drainage upgrades or a new chip seal or repaving a street, we'll typically look at the signs at that point in time and see if they're necessary. So we'll catch it when we do road work on a street.
Okay,
And that's typical, I think, for most towns
All right.
to do that.
okay. Thank you.
Mr. Vos?
Back to Selectman Lamarche's point, there are a lot of signs out there, Sean, and I'd like to, think that we could wait over the next 40 or 50 years as we upgrade this road and that road, but we have a lot of signs that need to be removed now, or fairly quickly. You go up and down Sutton Avenue, Main Street, it gets to a point where you don't even pay attention to the signs anymore because there's so many of them. A sign is supposed to be something that stands out. It's unique. You're going along, all of a sudden there's a sign. Well, when there's a sign, there's a sign, there's a sign, there's a sign. Kind of distracts the driver, or they just don't pay attention to them anymore, and then they don't see the important sign. So I'd like to see these signs removed sooner or later. I think they're ugly. As you mentioned, you add a sign today, you add a sign tomorrow, you add another, and before you know it, you get a million signs, and that's what we have in town here. I'd like to see, I don't know if you have anything scheduled moving forward. You have any signs that you know you're going to remove quickly? There's just so many signs in town. I know that we're battling the same thing with, as you mentioned, the private property signs. We have countless illegal signs in this town, and everyone's just throwing up signs at, hey, I'm doing business now. I'm sticking a sign in the ground. Compound that with the tremendous amount of roadway signs. I think Oxford is just littered with signs, and I think that we need to be a little more proactive in removing them rather than waiting till, we're going to pave this road someday, or we're going to chip seal this road someday. They're just almost to the point where we need a program that just get them removed.
The problem is it becomes an issue of priority, right? When we have all of the other work that we need to get done in a given year, it's hard to dedicate a lot of time to go around and getting rid of old signs. I 100% understand what you're talking about, for sure.
Do you have a list of signs that need to be removed, that should be removed?
As part of the inventory we do, we did a condition assessment when we inventoried each sign, and so we can go right to the inventory and query the data and say, ask it to spit out signs that are in a poor condition or fair condition or something, and we can get a list of where those signs are on each street, and then we could go and take those.
And how long would you think it takes to remove one sign on average? I mean,
It doesn't take very long to remove
no,
a sign.
right, and if you want to remove 100 signs, how long would it take you to remove 100 signs? I understand the time constraints, but there's always something to do. I realize that, but if you don't make time to do something like this, it's never going to get done. There's always something to do. You know it. You got to mow a lawn. You got to sweep a street, plow the snow. I just think it's something that it's been long coming. These signs have been building up for years and years and years, and I just like to see a more proactive approach to it, removing these signs.
I think one of the things, if I may, Mr. Chairman, one of the things we're going to have to be careful of is that signs that are part of our traffic control rules and regulations, signs that are voted by the board, need to be removed by the board, don't they? Not physically removed, but there needs a vote to say we no longer need this caution deaf child that's been up for 30 years.
Sounds like one meeting. I hear you.
Well, we could do it as an upgrading, but just so we don't have a conflict between our traffic control rules and regulations. One of the things I have a fear of is that stop sign that's covered with leaves and then somebody doesn't see it, drives through, there's an accident, and then we're liable because we didn't maintain the visibility of that sign. Stuff like that scares me. So, if there's supposed to be a sign somewhere because you all voted to put it there and they've taken it down, shame on us. We want to make sure we're covered.
Well, these are signs to be removed, as
Yeah.
Sean was saying.
Right. Thank you for that segue, Mr. Manager, because what I'm working on right now, as a matter of fact, is a revamping of the town's traffic rules and regulations. We have kind of bits and pieces of it, board votes that go back a few years, and they're all just kind of stuck in a binder in my office, and I use that from time to time. But we're required to have a more comprehensive traffic rules and regulations, and I haven't been able to find a more comprehensive traffic rules and regulations in town. I don't believe one exists. So I'm actually in the process of working on that, and that would cover things that you've talked about, would give the DPW power to remove a sign that is no longer needed, and then also would essentially provide the backup for any sign that does exist within the publicly owned right-of-way, provides a basis for it being there. And so that's a project that I'm working on. Many cities and towns have those traffic rules and regulations, and we can have it as well. Fortunately, the state provides kind of basic language for us to start from, and then we can customize it to whatever we want. And so that'll be, I think, more of a collaborative process, and we'll arrive at something that'll work for us, but that'll make things that the manager has just talked about a whole lot easier to manage as we go forward.
Mr. Bertheum?
Number 5 on this says, once authorized and installed, these signs remain the property of the petitioning organization. All maintenance, repair, replacement, and removal of signs is the responsibility of the petitioning organization. So, if I wanted a go slow children sign, and then my children are grown up, I have to pay to have that sign removed?
So there's 3 categories of signs that we talk about in this sign policy. The number 5 paragraph that you just read is under the recreational, cultural interest, and guide sign. So that would not be a Go Children Slow sign. That would be a sign for, say, a church. XYZ church 3 miles ahead. That would be a guide sign, a cultural interest sign. That sign would be owned by the church, would forever be owned by the church, and they would have the responsibility of maintaining it and or removing it.
And also in the number 6, the Oxford DPW reserves the right to remove signs if they are in a state of disrepair or were installed by an organization that no longer exists. It says that on that one, and also says that on another one I was reading, too, on traffic warning sign request procedures. And then part 5 says the same thing. So you see this one stuck in a tree, I saw the picture of that. Why didn't anyone ever take that off? And like the deaf child. If you have the right to take it off, then why don't you take it off? There's no deaf child anymore.
Well, heretofore, the DPW was not authorized to remove a sign that was voted on by the board. We can fix that. We can fix that with this policy and with traffic rules and
But it
regulations.
just says the Oxford Department of Public Works reserves the right, so.
Right, that's
This is the
new.
proposed policy.
This is a proposed policy. Right, this would be new to the town.
My other question is, what would you do with the signs if you, like, say, take them down, you don't need them? Is there a place you store them, because you might put them back up another time? Or are you gonna throw them away? What are you gonna do?
Well, it depends on the condition, depends what they are. The slow children sign or go slow children sign you saw growing into the tree, that sign, obviously, we just throw that in the metal dumpster. The town sends that metal off and gets money for it. If the sign can be reused somewhere, then we would keep it and reuse it.
Do you have a spot to put the signs?
Yeah.
Jared? I would like to say thanks for coming up with these guidelines and stuff like that, because I think a lot of the signs today are just not effective. A lot of people, like, you drive through a neighborhood. I think, for me, I just guess that I would assume that there are kids in the neighborhood, so I'm gonna be aware that there's gonna be kids around. I kind of just take that for a given. I mean, to have a sign there, it just seems kind of unneeded, or even like a lot of different signs, not just that sign, for instance, but, so I believe a lot of them are ineffective, and then, there's a lot of man time wasted on keeping inventory. Now we're making the maps and stuff. A lot of time goes waste, and now we have to upkeep them, like you said. So I think it's a pretty effective policy. The stricter we can be on putting signs up, I think the better, because a lot of times people just don't pay attention to them anyways, so.
Thank you. I do have a couple of comments as well. One of them was partially broached by, I believe it was Selectman Vos, regarding the number of signs that we have. You had mentioned that other communities as well have a number of signs. I'm wondering, have you done a comparison of like towns, similar in population, number of streets, roads? How do we compare with similar communities as far as the signs are concerned?
Anecdotally, in the circles I travel and talking to other DPW directors in the area, we all kind of co-commiserate about the number of signs in our communities. My assumption, my guess is we're all pretty close. I haven't done a town-by-town comparison. I could do that, provide that information to the board. It'd be interesting to find out. I'd be interested to know how other towns stack up. As part of the requirements of the MUTCD, each town is supposed to do an inventory of its signs. I'm not so sure that every town has gone right out and jumped at it to comply with the MUTCD, but I know some have. So I know there's some information out there that we can get, and I'd be happy to provide that.
You know, I'm well aware of the fact that you basically use the MUTCD as your DPW Bible when it comes to signage. And that's good to a certain extent, but it's not the end-all, be-all, as far as I'm concerned. There are times when I feel that this board makes a decision on installing a sign based on what we feel is the need of the community, of the residents in a given area. And, for example, I can mention the signs around the Chafee School area. You know that there are a number of stop signs there because you've installed them at the wishes of this board. And on a number of occasions, you have suggested that we not install the four-way stop signs. And the board had, after a public hearing, had gone ahead with it and supported the community in installing those signs against your wishes. And I firmly believe that that is going to continue to happen. When this board, when it has a public hearing, and we feel that in the best interest of a certain neighborhood, a sign should go up, I can tell you, speaking for myself, that I'm going to vote what I feel is the right and the basic need for that neighborhood, as I'm sure other members of the board will do. So I don't want a policy to be tied down black and white, no gray area involved. I would like to see this, if you're looking for a vote tonight, I am one selectman that will not vote for these guidelines tonight, because after reviewing some of these, I think there are a number of questions. That example that I gave is just one. I would like more clarification on enforcement. Nothing irks me more than to drive down Main Street, and now I'm not talking about town signs at this. When we gave you this directive to look at signs in the community, it wasn't just, to my knowledge, it wasn't just looking at town signs, looking at signs in general. And nothing irks me more than to ride down this beautiful Main Street and see businesses using our green area between the sidewalk and the road to advertise their business. I think that's wrong. I think it disbeautifies what we have here in this community as far as a beautiful Main Street. We're the second largest Main Street in New England. And I want to know why we're not enforcing it. And I think the DPW, you people are on the roads, you see signs that are on town property that shouldn't be there, you should remove them. Why do you leave them there?
Well, I can say the DPW does go around and we do pull signs that are within the town-owned right-of-way, they're advertising for a certain business. We routinely do that. We can't get to all of the signs all the time, they can catch fire sometimes, but, we have, any sign we pull, we put down in the DPW garage. Anybody who's looking for their sign, they can come and grab it and take it away. Otherwise, we throw it in the dumpster after a few days. But we do routinely, when we're out, pull those signs.
Okay. I can close my eyes and see at least 10, 12 signs between the Sunoco station and the American Legion that shouldn't be there, but they're there. When do those come down?
Tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Steve just got the message. They'll be down tomorrow.
The other question I had was regarding Sutton Avenue, okay, and Charlton Street. We have signs that you say, like churches put up, and we have historical signs that were most recently put up. What category in your rules and regulations governs those kinds of signs? Like the historical signs, the beautiful signs that were just put up.
Right.
Who maintained those? It should be us, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
town property.
That's correct, yeah. Those would be what I call the recreational, cultural interest and guide signs, that type.
Okay. Now, the church, how is that different than the nonprofits, like the churches?
Cultural interest.
The other concern I have is, since we have put the moratorium on, we have had a number of requests for signs. And you haven't put any of them up,
Unless directed by the
unless
board to
directed
do
by the
so.
board. Okay. I know that I had requests from a number of people regarding signs, and they haven't been put up. And I'm sure that board members have had similar requests. I don't want to get into those with you tonight. I think it would be better for me or any selectman to talk to you directly and say, this was requested, why hasn't this been done? That kind of thing. I'm concerned about that, and I'm very concerned that the board take a good, hard look at the guidelines. You've done an outstanding job, Sean. I got to tell you. You're looking at this from a different perspective than we, as political animals, look at it, okay? Because we're dealing directly with the people in the neighborhood, people that have the requests. It comes to us. You have a job to do. You have your federal guidelines, your state guidelines, and that's the way you operate. And that's a good thing, okay? But there has to be some latitude there, okay? Where you just don't stick strictly by, you know, your guidelines from the federal government or the state. I think there has to be some leeway. And that leeway benefits, I think, the community as a whole, because we're the ones that hear it if things don't get done, or if a sign doesn't go up, okay? If we vote not to put up a sign, we as selectmen should be prepared to defend why we don't put up a sign. I've had requests from people, and I've said, gee, we can't do it, and this is why I feel I can't support it. On the other hand, I've supported signs, and I think we all have that same sense. We all deal that way politically. So I would hope that the board would look at these guidelines, and if you feel that you have more questions or concerns, I think you ought to highlight them, and I think we should meet on this again as a separate issue. I mean, this has just been presented to us, so I'm sure that there are a lot of questions. There's no question we have to do something. And Mr. Vos is right. I mean, everywhere you go, you see signs, 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 signs. And that's why the board was so enthused about having you work on this. But on the other hand, I think that we need the time to look at this. So I don't know how the board wants to handle this. I would hope we could set up a meeting in the future to outline our concerns on the policy, what we accept and what we feel is issues with. But in the meantime, and I throw this out to the board, there may be requests for signs. Do you want to continue with a moratorium or take each issue up as they come before the board? I just throw that out for your comments. Yes?
Well, how long do you want to wait before we get together and, I mean,
The sooner the
why
better.
don't we do it at our next meeting if we have time, or the second meeting,
No,
or,
October,
We're booked up
Oh,
right into
we are?
October.
late October.
I agree with you. I sit at the center of town, it's, on Sutton Ave, and I look at the center of town and those signs, there has to be like 25 signs here, or like, it's like, what do they really do? So personally, I'd like to continue the moratorium until we get some clarification. Unless it's a dire need, safety issue, maybe like a stop sign or something like that. I know we have some requests, and I still think right now it's not going to really be detrimental if we wait for a couple of those sign requests. It's something I think the board could just act on as we feel needed in the meantime. And as soon as possible, I think we should meet and hash this out. That's my opinion.
Yes, Mr. Lewis.
I would suggest that we just continue the moratorium and get Mr. Duval back in here first meeting after town meeting. I mean, the signs haven't been there all this time. I don't think anything,
Right.
there's anything that pressing between now and then, so I would just,
Yep.
I
Okay.
would wait. That would be my opinion.
Is that a general consensus that we keep the moratorium on? Okay.
This is new signs, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
there's new
New
signs.
signs.
The other thing I wanted to bring up regarding this is, could you additionally give us recommendations as to where you feel signs should be removed? I'm talking public signs, And you just mentioned it. You drive down the center and you see these poles, turn right, turn left, stop, go. I mean, it gets so confusing, you don't know which one to look at and pay attention to. Could you make recommendations on which signs can be removed
Yes,
in the downtown area?
certainly, I can do that.
Okay. Does the board have anything else on the rules and regulations? Yes, Jared?
I just have a question on the MUTCD. So if we put up a sign that doesn't comply with what their laws are, if for some reason we put up a sign and it makes a situation worse, or it causes a different situation, is there any responsibility for not, is there anybody who really enforces it for not complying with that, or?
Well, the town can incur liability for not following the MUTCD. If we put up a sign that's not in compliance with the warrants stipulated in the MUTCD, if there's a good lawyer out there who wants to point that out, the town can incur some extra liability there, for sure.
Because we still have, a pretty good amount of leeway with, if somebody presents a sign to us that we want to put up, we vote on it, and it goes through. It's just a guideline of whether, as long as it complies with. So, as far as, I feel like it gives us something better to work off of instead of, if we decide not to, listen to what they're telling us we should do. I don't know. I think it would kind of help us in the long run. Somebody wants to put a sign up, if it doesn't comply with what they are suggesting, maybe it's not the best idea for us to go forward with it.
And in most cases, that's true, and that's what happens. The recommendation of the DPW most often is followed, okay?
Right.
It's just in certain instances that the board has not gone along with the recommendation of the highway superintendent, DPU director. Most generally, this gentleman will come forward and give his reasons why the sign should or should not be there, and the board just votes accordingly. It's very rare that we override you, Sean, right? There's been occasions where we have.
There's been occasions, yes.
Yeah. But I think this is good. This is a good thing. This is a tool that we can all use, not only us, but your department as well, so that we're basically all on the same page.
Right.
It just needs to be tweaked a bit, I think.
It's just a guideline,
Yeah, that's all
for
it
the
is.
most part. I mean, so when we go in, we have something to look at. We say, okay, these are the things to consider
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Alan?
I have another question. The first picture, you have a traffic warning sign. I understand it's not needed, but let's say it wasn't. It looks like there's a lot of trees in that area, so people wouldn't really see that sign. Is that your responsibility to keep that, to keep the trees back, to clip them?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So can we, is it agreeable with the board that we set up a meeting in the near future, as soon as we can?
Yes.
We'll check with the clerk and get an open time on a future agenda, which will be hopefully soon. And we can go through these again,
Certainly.
okay? But before you leave, I do have a couple of DPW questions and concerns that you could probably help me out on.
Okay.
And if any board member has any questions of the DPW director, please feel free to.
Mr. Chairman, I can stay if you want to do this during Selectmen's request. I'm happy to stay.
No, I'll do it now. It's not a problem. I had a request for a crosswalk at Route 56 near the Shell gas station. Some neighbors in that area have complained it's very difficult. There's no designated area to cross 56 to go to the Dunkin' Donuts or the gas station. And I know that this has been brought up before, Sean. I believe Selectman Lamountain brought it up, a number of times. And the crosswalk is not there.
Right.
And I'm wondering if we can get it there and get it properly marked.
We can do that. It's going to take some effort, and that's why we haven't done it. It's going to require putting in a handicap ramp. It's going to require pouring probably a new concrete sidewalk on the opposite side of the street, on the Shell gas station side of the street. There's some underground conduit there that we need to talk to National Grid about potentially lowering or removing. So it's an involved project. It's not as easy as just painting a couple of lines. And we found that out pretty early on when we investigated that. So, again, priorities, we've had other things to do for sure. We know it's there. We know it's been a request. It's on our list of things to tackle. And quite honestly, it might be a thing to do if town meeting approves sewer construction on Leicester Street, that we could lump in the construction of that handicap ramp and the crosswalk at that time, because the road would need to be reconstructed after a sewer line would be put in anyway. So it wouldn't be too far out to add that crosswalk and the handicap ramps in as part of that project.
How far away are we to that project?
That would be, if everything went as planned, would be summer construction next summer, next construction season.
Summer of 14?
Yes.
You want to follow up?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't understand, Sean. I understand the handicap, regulations and everything, because we discussed this about the sidewalk issue there on Main Street and all. But in the meantime, you can't put a couple lines down there and make a pedestrian crossing, right? Even though it's, you don't have the sidewalks that comply. I mean, people that are handicapped right now are probably somehow crossing that road. I mean, let's paint a couple lines in the meantime. The heck with Verizon or whatever you got to do in the meantime, and then we have a crosswalk that people have to follow. And, I just think waiting, I don't see, you're going to have to convince me.
When a city or town paints two white lines across a roadway, that implies safety and implies accessibility. If we haven't provided an accessible crossing, we're breaking the law. If we put in a crosswalk where it's not safe, we're also breaking the law because we've implied that that's a safe area to cross. So we have to be very careful when we put in crosswalks. In the old days, white lines went in anywhere. Anywhere and everywhere, crosswalks went in, nobody cared. But in today's day and age, can't do that.
Well, where's the crosswalk gonna go? Is it gonna go right at the corner of 56 and 20, or is it gonna go up a ways? Where would the proposed spot be? You know, you must know that, and we could put it there as right now. And even though you don't have those, I can't believe that we have a lot of areas that we have crosswalks right now where they're not handicap accessible, but there's crosswalks there. So yeah, so we're breaking the law there. So I mean, I'm not saying we should break the law, but I'm also looking at, you know, public safety. And sometimes when you're trying to get by, get across, especially in that area, you know.
The difference there is that those crosswalks went in a time and day when there were not the liability issues that there are now. Those crosswalks have been in existence for a long time, the ones that you talk about, 2 white lines, curbs on either end, those crosswalks have been there for a long time. Unfortunately, for better or for worse, times have changed, and liability, the way it is far more severe.
Okay. Thank you.
Question
go
for
ahead.
Sean. Crosswalks in town, they're green. Why are they green? I just don't see that being big of a contrast between that green and the black. Why aren't they a brighter color, an orange or something that you can actually? I just don't think they're that visible. Why are they green?
Honestly can't answer that question.
What would be the suggested color of these crosswalks? I mean, we repaint them every year. Why are they green? Can we paint them a different color? Should we paint them a different color?
So we can paint them any color.
Should we paint them a
we
different color?
Uh,
What was the
Maybe
recommended
maybe we
color?
shouldn't paint them at all,
Orange.
because when we paint the pavement, it gets slippery. It becomes more slippery when it's wet,
Okay, but I've had
right?
Right.
a couple different people ask me that question, and they were the same opinion. They're not that visible. Was it some type of, was it a flight of fancy? Was it, hey, everyone's painting green crosswalks now, or what's the deal?
I wish I knew. I wish I
What
knew.
color should they be?
Honestly, I think the best visible crosswalks are the crosswalks that are a ladder rung, 2 white lines, and then the lines that are.
Why don't we just,
Yeah, I agree with you.
should we go
I
back
think
to
so.
that? Or, I mean, I guess it's gonna be kinda tough now that we got all this green paint all over the place. It's gonna take some years to wear off, right? But, you know,
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you tonight on that one.
is it?
That's
who-
Steve chiming
okay.
in.
Here we go. He's gonna say the selectmen voted that. I know he is.
Right.
No, but
He said thank you.
yeah, okay, should we go to a different color? You're the guy, you're the answer man.
Honestly, I would rather we go to a ladder rung kind of
Okay, so
crosswalk.
how do we make that happen?
Vote it.
Just vote. I agree. I think your suggestion, I've seen it in other communities, and to me, that's more visible than any color you can
The
put out there.
sparkly paint.
Like the green thing is just,
With the reflective
all right,
paint.
so can
I'll
do we
entertain
need
a
a public
motion.
hearing on this, or?
No, I'll entertain a motion that we
All right,
allow them to
I'll
do
make the
that.
motion that we, change the crosswalks to the ladder variety.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion? Being done, yes.
Is this gonna be all future
Future.
crosswalks? No, I
Right.
can go back.
Future.
Right,
All right.
exactly.
All white.
The ones that I get repainted will probably get the ladder.
Yeah.
Well, we're not gonna scrape the green paint on it.
No, they'll wear them. You know what?
The manager's gonna do that
Yeah,
job.
right.
I would pay to see that. I would pay to-
Okay, we'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, I'll make it unanimous, motion carries. The other point that I wanted to raise this evening with you is Sutton Avenue. We all drive down, everybody drives down Sutton Avenue, everybody in the community. We've got too much going on, whether you're going to work, you gotta get on the 395, whether you're going to Market Basket, whatever, everybody drives Sutton Ave. When are we gonna do something about those blue and red circus barrels or rodeo barrels that are always damaged sitting on Sutton Avenue? They look like hell. They really do. I'm waiting for a clown to jump out of one of them, to be honest with you.
Slows you down.
Is there something we can do there to make it look more aesthetic?
We can replace the barrels. We can replace the barrels with a proper traffic safety barrel. They're the yellow kind, filled with sand, reflective. We can do that. We can replace the barrels.
Something would be better than those circus barrels, really.
Senator Moore had intervened with Mass Highway on someone's behalf. I saw the letter that a copy went to him from the district about, I think it was, one of the businesses complained about the traffic, the turning movements there. And Mass Highway wrote back that the town had an approved plan which would remove that Jersey barrier and the barrels altogether, which was the shared left turn lane. So there'd be 2 lanes in, 1 lane out of town, with the shared left turn on the out of town side. Because the traffic, the basis for that design was that we had, the traffic light stops traffic trying to go through town, so it backs up towards the highway. Whereas the traffic light in the morning controls the traffic. It comes out in spurts from Charlton Street. And so people just fly, I shouldn't say fly, but they can just
They
go,
do,
unless they're
fly.
stopping for their coffee, they can fly straight down. And we have, from the time I can remember, I did this study in 2002, I think. I was town engineer, Charlie Noyes was the chief. We did mapped out the accidents, and they were primarily left turns.
Yes.
Left turns are bad, don't turn left. It's because you're crossing so many lanes of traffic. So that's one way to get rid of it. Right now, it works, the barrels are ugly, but we need to have that protection, otherwise the Jersey barriers could be a hazard. I think that's the reason for that. But that's something the board may want to take up when we meet with Sean again in October, is consider that plan, because we have some new members maybe haven't seen that. Make sense?
Makes sense.
You can resurrect that?
Yes, I can.
Board voted on that once before, that came before us, and it got voted down.
Right.
That's correct.
So, yeah, I mean, we got new members here, new ideas, let's bring it back and look at it again. We want to do whatever we can to make that area safe. And getting back to those barrels, I mean, that's something you can do, like,
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But I've seen in other communities where they have the Jersey barrier, similar to what we have, the Jersey barrier in the middle of the road. They have these signs that are zigzag, like zebra stripes that reflect. Is that something that could be used there in place of the barrels?
I think we need the barrels to enhance the safety out there.
Okay.
The Jersey barriers alone with no, you know, they call it an impact
Yep.
attenuator.
Yep.
Without an impact attenuator, it's usually not a good idea.
Okay.
So the barrels are needed there. Often what you've talked about is a sign that's on this impact attenuator that's basically a bunch of guardrail that's bolted together
Yes.
out in front of the Jersey barrier.
Yep.
I priced those, they're about $30,000 a piece.
Oh, get 10 or 12 of them.
So I think we can do the barrels. They're quite reflective, and I think they'll eliminate those circus barrels. And
As long as the circus barrels get
Yeah,
out of there.
yeah.
I think.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else for the DPW director?
This is hard-hitting stuff we got going on here. Huh?
I bet you're glad you came in tonight.
I'm
huh?
paid to get hit hard, so
John, you do a good job. We appreciate your efforts. We really do.
thank you.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks,
See
Sean.
ya.
Next item on the agenda. Articles requested by the Tricentennial Committee. Chairman Alan Hammond, come forward, please.
This is sad. Being said I was the co-chair of the Tercentennial Committee, I won't be taking part in this conversation. Is that,
Yeah, I don't see any reason why you couldn't. What? That's your choice.
Okay. Play it by ear.
Gentlemen, I'm here, I actually got an invitation to come before the board tonight about the articles. It involves the fact that in our being very prudent, the Tercentennial Committee does have a significant amount of money left over from the funds that we raised by donations and sale of commemorative items, et cetera. The committee felt that since a lot of the funds were raised by donations, as well as the sale of commemorative items and activities and events, but a lot were raised by donations, that rather than seeing all of the funds just go into a general fund, which would almost be like a form of taxation in a way without representation, because we're asking them for donations and now we're gonna put it into the general fund, that we'd like to see the funds split in a manner so that future celebration committees wouldn't have to do something that we did, which was start off with a zero bank account, no seed money to begin with, and have to do a significant amount of fundraisers just to have money to raise money. I know that the town at some point in various town meetings did appropriate money from here and there, but the committee itself raised over $100,000. And a lot of that was not just from the sale of commemorative items, it was also from shows, it was from donations, and that's the biggest one, is the fact that there were donations involved, where we had individuals, corporations, small businesses that literally just made a donation to the town for celebrations. We, as a committee, were very good in negotiating a lot of the entertainment, a lot of the vendors. We got groups that started out telling us, well, it's gonna cost $4,000 to put on a show, and we got them down to $1,500. We did a lot of significant negotiating, if you will, to, well, we can afford to do this, figuring that we were gonna have more expenses than we did. The school department surprised us with an expense that we were expecting by getting school busing, well, buses donated to us. We thought we were gonna have a big bill for that. The highway department surprised us with negotiating with a company to handle the trash removal and dumpsters. So we had a few surprises at the end that we had originally planned and budgeted for that we did not have to spend money on, which is why we have a significant surplus. But by the same token, it still comes back to the fact that a significant amount of money was donated to celebrations, and to just have it go into a town general fund. I know if I were donating money and they told me, well, whatever's left over is going into the general fund, I would be less likely to make a donation. And I was talking prior to the meeting, there is apparently some type of general law that says that, you know, the commemorative items and the sale of the proceeds and emission charges have to go back into the general fund. Well, that's all well and good, but nowhere in the article says anything about the donation that we received either. I briefly spoke with our elected officials before they left tonight and asked them if there was anything around this that we could do, and they said we could request a special act of legislation specific to the funds from the 300th anniversary celebration. The language that I had given you for the article that was already submitted, it was a generic language because we are not experts in how it needed to be done, but the premise was there. We don't feel that the whole amount of money that we have left over should just be going to future celebrations, because we do recognize that the town did contribute to not only by town meeting votes various appropriations, but they also appropriated in the budgets for this year. But if you were to look at how much money was expended in the celebrations, it was probably a little bit more than 50% was raised by the 300th anniversary committee, and the remainder was through town funds at some point. Again, I do have a problem with the donations portion of it going into the town's general fund. And I think it takes away from the fact that the people that donated to the celebrations like the idea of the funds having a celebratory ring to it, and if we had money left over from it, then we should be able to use that for future celebrations. It shouldn't be just going back into a general fund where everybody has an opportunity. So the two articles that we had voted on them vague and hoped that maybe town council could find the way to find the right wording for it, the right way to do it, because we're not experts. We were a committee put together to put on your celebration. And I commend my committee because they did so much in 4 years and did such a great job that to have it ended, all the money that in there goes back into town fund would put a little bit of a bitter aftertaste in there. It was a great celebration, and I'd hate to see it go that route.
So where are you suggesting the money go?
We had asked that half of the money be split up into some type of trust within the town, as half of it go into for future celebrations. And half of the money go back to the town as a gesture of, they gave us about half, so let's give them back about half of what's left over. And it's a sense of fairness, because we appreciate what we got from the town, and I don't want anyone to think that we didn't. We do. But in recognition of the fact that a lot of this was also donations. It wasn't just from the sale of commemorative items or from, this was, somebody took it out of their piggy bank, if you will. I mean, we alluded to Robert Shedd earlier. He was one of our most fantastic private individual sponsors. Businesses were doing the same thing. We'd go up to them and say, well, we're going to do this. If you can't afford to give us a big chunk this year, we had this annual sponsor program. Give us a little this year, a little bit next year. And they did. I mean, we had companies that gave us $4,000 and $5,000. And I don't know if we could have spent any more money. I think we put on a heck of a celebration. So that money should go forward for future celebration. That's what it was raised for celebrations. It wasn't raised for to go to offset a budget item. So we did ask that, the language wasn't perfect, but half of the money go into something for future celebrations, and half the money do go back to the town, because the town did a significant cut. We're gonna get a check from the state that we didn't ask for. It's going to add to this bill amount. Right now, like I said, it's a significant amount of money, and anyone could call the accountant's office tomorrow and find out that it's over $30,000 already. That's significant.
Mr. Chairman, we have both of the articles that were requested on the warrant. It wasn't written as half, it was written this way: to see if the town will vote to accept a sum of money from the Oxford Tercentennial Committee account consisting of fundraiser items and booth fees as excess funds collected by said committee and returned to the town in 2 equal parts. One part is a trust account for use in future to fund future anniversary celebrations, and one part to be returned to the general fund to reimburse in part celebration operation costs incurred by the town or act thereon. So that vague language, or act thereon, and the one part, rather than pinning it down to one half,
It was
it's
2
up
equal
to-
parts is what we wrote.
The motion will be as specific as you want to make it. The second article was to see if the town will vote to establish a celebrations trust committee consisting of 3 members, one appointed by the Board of Selectmen, one appointed by the town moderator, and one appointed by the town manager, to establish the procedure and oversee the distribution, use, and replenishment of funds in the celebrations trust account distributed for celebrations. Said trust committee shall meet at least quarterly to review applications for funds use or act thereon. That one is, I think, becomes problematic. It's here, but I think it's problematic because as far as I know, only town meeting can appropriate such funds. So it may be, it's just taking up space.
And the reason that one was put in is we didn't have a chance to, second one was not voted at the committee. We had discussed in general what we wanted to.
But you
group.
presented it to us as an
I made a
article.
note that I submitted by myself. That part there was because what we want is, we wanted a trust committee, but we didn't vote on a procedure. And it was the
I
one that
thought
we
we
had
received
suggested.
2 articles.
You did. You did receive 2 articles, but that one there I submitted as myself, for lack of the fact that we don't know the proper language. We didn't know how to put that together. We would like to see somebody oversee it, but we didn't know how that would be done.
You're okay if town meeting does that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the point. We just didn't know how to,
That's okay, it's just, that's fine.
If the town meeting does what, Joe?
Appropriates the money.
appropriate how the money is dispersed for that.
Because that's how we've done it in the past.
As
over the-
opposed to a trust?
As opposed to a separate committee.
As opposed to a committee doing it. A town meeting voted it.
Okay, okay. Town accountants here, do you have a problem or an issue with that?
Any fund or account that is created has to be a statute in the Mass General Law that allows it to be created. When we created the 300th celebration account, it was based on Chapter 4453I, which is a city or town for the celebration of a 200th, a 250th, a 300th, or a 350th anniversary of its settlement or incorporation may appropriate money annually during the 5 years preceding such anniversary. And it goes on, as Alan said, that you can put in sale of commemorative items, entrance fees, admission fees for events, fundraising events that you had. But what continues on at the very end, it says any surplus remaining in said account after such celebration is concluded shall be transferred by the treasurer into the treasurer's, to the town. It doesn't allow for anything else. That's why Alan was asking about talking with Senator Moore about getting some special legislation, because right now, there's not an option for anything else.
So it has to go to the general fund. But the town can put an article on to take a sum of money and set it aside for the 350th.
5 years preceding.
Right, there's a time
Oh,
limit
right, 5
constraint on you.
Oh, there's a time involved there.
Yeah. That's why.
We did it 5 years preceding the
Okay.
300th. We hit it right on the,
Okay.
Yeah, we put it on 4 years ahead of time.
Yeah.
But it also states about funds that were from the sale of how the funds were received. They were from the sale of commemorative items, admissions, ceremonies, and events. Well, that doesn't include straight out and out donations for just to have a celebration. And that to me, this is
First in,
specific.
first out,
Laws
I mean,
are
it depends on
specific,
what you
and
used your money
this is,
for.
we didn't raise a lot of that money by the sale. We got that specifically in the form of donations.
But Alan, you gotta realize this, it was donated to the town.
For a celebration.
yeah.
And that's where it gets kind of sticky here.
Yeah, but that's why I had inquired with our elected officials, is there a way that we could still delegate our intent, our desire to see money set aside for future celebrations? Because, John, you sat on the Founders Day Committee for a number of years, and if it had been a town committee at the time, it would have all gone into a general fund, which we did not have the luxury of having in the nonprofit organization, so we did it all as our own. But we never had a seed fund to start with. And there was a good deal of difficulty, especially a small committee that we had. I mean, literally for the first few years, there was like 8 of us. And as wonderful as it was to see Bob Shed recognized tonight, and it really was, there are too few of those out there. There are too few Bob Sheds. Volunteerism is dying. And if people have to try to plan celebrations on an annual basis, 5-year basis, 10-year, 25, 50-year basis, and have to go through what we went through, I had a very dedicated group. And it was the hardest job that I've ever volunteered for in my many years of doing volunteer work. And if I had known it was going to be as difficult as it was to raise the monies that we did, I probably would have stayed home and watched.
No, you would have volunteered.
You would've known.
You're
I
that
don't
way,
know.
you know
It's-
that.
John, the reason we brought this up was because nobody should have to go through that again.
Listen,
It really
Alan,
does.
I think we all understand what you've went through for 4 years and how much of a struggle it was to keep a small committee together to do a job that was so huge. To this day, I still don't understand how you did it with as few people as you had, but you did it. And I don't think anybody wants to see this money go to anything other than what your committee wants it to go for. And if that's celebrations, there has to be a way that we can do it legally.
I think he's on the right track with getting the special legislation. The only thing I would suggest is not to put anything on October, because we're not gonna have special legislation by then. You do have a year from that we can still do stuff. We don't have to close it out. It's assumed that for the year after the celebration, you might have bills come up, so it's not telling me I have to close on June 30th, because this event was in July of next year. So I still think that we have some time to get the senator to do
So
something.
we could try to find a way to, could we reword the article request that we submitted so that it would be reflective of requests for the special act legislation?
Yes, it can. We,
Could we do that?
not now we can't, but I mean, we could do that.
The board could ask for the legislation.
We
Okay,
could ask for, yeah.
but the town meeting article couldn't.
No, this town meeting.
It's closed, the warrant's
The
closed.
warrant closed last week.
Okay.
It's gonna be signed tonight, because I have to get it advertised. I gotta get it to the newspaper by the end of the
Can
week.
this be removed?
Well, it'll be, it's there.
It's
It'll
there.
be, we'll
We
just
will have to
table
move
it.
to postpone it
We'll
indefinitely.
postpone indefinitely. Those
Okay.
two articles,
And at
okay?
that point, if you want, you can get up and explain why it's postponed indefinitely, or we can do that.
Okay.
But we can't remove it once the deadline is passed.
But we could, in the meantime, we could start the ball rolling to work with these, our elected
Right.
officials
We
for
could
the
take, we
special
could take a
acts.
motion this evening to request of our legislators to file legislation.
Exempting us from 531I.
Yes.
Or you don't want to exempt it from it? You want to have something that allows you to
Allows
have
us
this
to.
fund that you want to establish?
Donna can help write an
works.
something that'll work with the law.
That's all we want.
Okay.
It's fair, with fair to all the people who anticipated certain things be done a certain way. I'm fine with that.
Board members?
I'll make a motion that we contact the legislature and see if they can somehow do a special article to allow us to do this appropriation.
We have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion?
53E, can they do?
Any committee members have any,
They can't.
any concerns, questions? Okay. There
Well, why
be-
don't you have 305? You guys can run the 305 again? It's a good thing.
You know, people did it, you did a wonderful job.
You did.
And there are people who wanted to have this every year.
I know. Trust me. I've heard from a number of them.
Okay, if there's no further discussion on the motion as proposed, I will call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes, for an affirmative, one abstention, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Okay, managers report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Manager's report for September 10th. Couple of things I won't have to bring up. I have under meeting minutes. Request the board vote to approve the meeting minutes of August 6th. All were pleasant. Did it? I knew I was going to do that. All were present. Pleasure of the board. You were pleasant too.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion
You may be well aware that we have a dog complaint in your mail packet of September 6th. You received a copy of a complaint concerning a dog attack on a 4-year-old child. Animal Control Officer has requested that the board act quickly to take action on this matter. Therefore, I'm suggesting a public hearing be held on September 24th at 7:30 PM. Pleasure of the board.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
We have a request for a sign relocation. This is in response to traffic problems on Bacon Street and Hamilton Street. People are cutting through from Harwood to avoid the intersection. And the applicant is requesting that the board move the slow children sign, or go slow children, go children slow, I'm not sure what the exact wording is. The slow children sign from Hamilton Street to Bacon Street, move it up, because people are using Bacon Street and Hamilton Street to avoid the intersection of Harwood and Main. The location is currently on Bacon Street, or the location on Bacon Street would be more effective. Pleasure of the board? Or do you want to wait?
Wait. This is, we just get done talking about
Right.
signs. If we move this sign from one location and put it on another, it's gonna mean that once that sign is removed, someone's gonna say, why was it taken down? Especially if it was requested for that particular part of a neighborhood.
Right.
So, I don't know how to handle this, to be honest with you. Do we wait until the moratorium is off? Or do we want to get involved in this at this point? The only other solution would be to add another sign, but we don't want to do that either because of the moratorium. So, it's open for discussion. Mr. Berthium?
It says, the location of Bacon Street would be more effective. Who said it would be more effective?
The requestor.
So it's someone who has a house there, things would be more effective.
There, as I perceive what's going on, it's a request to use a cautionary sign to slow traffic. Now, we could have DPW and police look at this. I don't know if you've already looked at this problem? Sean, no. And then get back to you and we'll just wait. So I'm suggesting you have, you do study on it, have our officials study it. See if there's a better way to affect the desired outcome. Make sense?
Well, that was my thought, was that same idea as who really made this determination. And so I would think that we'd have our police, DPW, take a look at this, because where is it located right now and where are we proposing? I mean, this doesn't really say much. And I don't think moving a sign is going to slow people down anyway. I mean, I'm in that area all the time. They're going to zip along no matter what because they're trying to cut off Howard Street. So that's my opinion, is that let's have it checked out by the proper people and get back to us, and then we'll make a determination then.
Does that sound good? All right, okay.
So that's what we're gonna do?
Yes.
All right, you know what to do. He knows what to do. Thank you. I have a request for a public hearing. Request the board vote to hold a public hearing to lay out Jasmine Drive, also known as Jasmine Road, on September 24th at 7:15 PM. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion.
Second for
It's been moved
discussion.
and seconded for discussion. Discussion?
Is it all set? Are we ready to go on this thing, or what are the outstanding issues?
I
that
talked
we
to
have?
the lawyer today. There's a couple of easements we need. If it's on the warrant for town meeting acceptance, if it's not laid out, town meeting can't consider it. So that gives us 2 weeks from today to see if it's ready to go. If you, of course, you could lay it out, or you could wait, say, we don't have the easements tonight. Let's continue this hearing until October 24th, in which case town meeting can't hear it, but you
Right.
can eventually get it laid out and then be done with
By
it.
the 24th, we'll have all the input from the people.
And if not, we
concerned
don't
parties.
hold the hearing.
Okay.
Make sense?
Well, did the planning board already you know, all the conditions of the planning board, have they been met?
They have
That's
sent me a
development.
memo recommending that it be on the warrant for acceptance. But there are some technical issues. We're still waiting. The DPW engineer is waiting on a couple of more easements we need. Now, those could be critical. And I told the lawyer, I want to make sure that there's an easement from the developer to the sewer association for the sewer that's in the street. They have a shared leaching field. One of these DEP messes. And, because it's going to be difficult. You've got 11 or 12 homeowners that have to agree to maintain their septic systems collectively, or it's going to fail, and everybody will fail. It's not something that I would have preferred to do, but it's beyond
Joe,
my
this
control.
is on the warrant, right?
Yeah, it's there.
It's on the warrant. The board voting to do the layout is just procedural. It doesn't mean that we support this, okay? My suggestion is, and we've done it in the past, is we voted on the layout because it's required by law for us to do that. And then the planning board will make its recommendation at town meeting. Come town meeting time, we can move to postpone it because of exactly what the town manager has said. But my suggestion would be, so that we don't get any negative feedback from one's lawyer, or why didn't the board do the layout? Why are they postponing it? Rather than get into those kinds of questions, I would suggest that we vote on the layout, and if it's not ready for town meeting, we don't go with it. It's as simple as that.
Okay,
So, with that being said, I'll call for the vote.
yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Thank you. I'd like, if you allow me, I want to give a little background. You all have voted to hire up to 2 full-time police officers and rebuild our permanent intermittent, which is our part-time police officers. We've received from the civil service people 2 lists, a list for full-time employment and a list for part-time employment, the permanent and intermittent list. In reality, we have a 3rd list, which is our roster, which is the permanent intermittent. When we put this out for those who are interested to sign, one of our permanent intermittents signed that he's interested. He's ready to be hired as a police officer, full-time police officer. He's already gone through the vetting process when we did the permanent intermittent list. So I'm requesting that the board vote to interview him for full-time police officer from our roster list on September 24th. Pleasure of the board.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Okay, we've already interviewed this individual for our part-time intermittents. He's been working for us. What is the reasoning to interview him again for full-time? If he's doing a good job, you know.
It's procedural. You have,
Procedural,
it's civil
okay.
service, okay? We've advertised for this position, so we have to interview for it.
Is he the only one?
He's the only one, and that's why the manager is suggesting that we have him come in. He's the only one on that list. We had a permanent intermittent list with eligible
Right.
people, and as you know, we use that permanent intermittent list to promote people into full-time positions. And this person is the only one on the list.
But is it required by civil service that we interview him even though he's the only one?
Yeah, because he's being interviewed for a full-time position.
Well, you'd want to,
Not a
and then
part-time.
offer him the job.
Yeah.
It might
Well,
be
it
a
just
10-minute
seems-
process.
Yep. Okay.
But he's
Jump
ready
to
to
a
go, and that's good for us.
And he's already trained?
I think so.
Yes.
I'll have to check. I think he's trained.
All right.
So we'll do that on the 24th?
Yes.
Is
Oh,
that any other questions or concerns?
didn't vote on it.
Okay, we'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion.
And then, in addition, in order to replenish our permanent intermittent police officer list, our roster, which, once established, does not expire, whereas the permanent intermittent list we have now, you remember, we're under the gun because it expires on November 1st. I'm recommending that on October 8th, that's the first Tuesday meeting in October, the one before town meeting, that we interview the candidates for permanent intermittent. We have, I think, 7. Karen?
I'm sorry.
I think it's about 7. So you can hire up to 3 from that, because it's 2N plus 1. And get them on the permanent intermittent list so we can have our own list. We'll work them as part-timers, and then sometime in the future, we could hire them as full-time. Chairman Sad had suggested to me that October 8th would work. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, discussion? All right, this is the meeting before the town meeting, which is the day before. And basically, the only reason we'll be meeting is for the interviews, unless the manager has businesses, that has to come before the board. So with that being said, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
I have here 10 copies of the warrant, as I mentioned earlier. The warrant for town meeting, this is being a special town meeting, requires that it be advertised in a newspaper of general circulation at least 14 days before. Since the Patriot has gone out of business and the Patriot was published on a Wednesday, we could meet exactly 2 weeks before. The alternative newspaper of general circulation is the Webster Times. It's published on Friday, which means it has to be in their issue of the 20th in order to be at least 14 days before, which means I have to get them the signed warrant by the end of this week, Monday at 5 at the latest. I'd rather do it at the end of the week. So I'm going to go over quickly. We've talked about some of the articles just here. We have the standard articles, reports. We have found out that we're receiving a little more than $64,000 in state aid than we anticipated. That results because of our policy to give the school department all of our state aid. There will be an increase in their general account from $15,322,000 to $15,386,000. That we're going to continue the capital outlay plan that we started in May. We have, I have an article, the next article is for natural gas conversions. My mouth isn't moving as fast as my head. What we want to do, we're in line to save money right now. Selectman Vos, I have to give credit for this because he's reminded me as often as he could that this is important to do, and it's a very good point. For example, in the community center, we could probably save in the first year $50,000 when you equate oil to natural gas. We spend a lot heating that building. So there's money to be saved. We've got the community center we're ready to do. Already has gas to the building. Fire headquarters has gas to the building. We have natural gas outside here in the driveway. The library has natural gas in Main Street. And the DPW headquarters has natural gas in Dana Road and Main Street. So we're trying to get enough money together to fund this as a borrowing and then pay it back with the savings. The 2 articles from the tercentennial, Mr. Dival had referenced briefly the sewer project. The North Oxford Sewer Study Committee is requesting that we fund sanitary sewers in Leicester Street between Route 12 and Route 20. And then there's an article to recover the cost through the sewer enterprise through betterments. Request from the school committee to fund additional heating, ventilating, and cooling work as part of the middle school project. I have an article to change the manner in which the trustees of the Charles Leonard Trust are selected so that they would be appointed by the Board of Selectmen rather than elected. It's one of those trusts that has a $10,000 principal. The interest doesn't generate a lot of money, and people, we have to beg to get people to run. There's an article for a petition to the general court to to provide that police department ranks above sergeant be removed from civil service. It wouldn't affect the existing chief, but it would make your job of appointing senior staff in the future much easier. You know what it's like dealing with the civil service process. So it won't affect any of the existing people, it would just affect the new, anyone in the new, any position you choose above sergeant.
Is the current police department going along with it?
The,
Is management going along with it?
management's going along with it.
Chief.
The chief. The sergeants have brought to my attention a problem they have, because they're all in one union, that this could help solve. So I think, I sense agreement in there, and if not, I'm sure they'll bring all their family to stop it. There's an article to accept the provisions of law that deals with the abandonment of motor vehicles. The police chief's sponsoring this. It includes penalties, non-criminal proceedings. Right now, if we tow a car, it's abandoned on the side of the road, the guy who tows it is stuck with it, because we don't have the wherewithal, we don't have the authority to properly dispose of it. And then I've got a planning board article for zoning change on apartments, and another one for changing, it's like 3-4 pages of text, 5 pages of text. Oh God, it's on signs. This is all on signs. And the Jasmine Drive or Road, acceptance of that subdivision road as a public way, and a petition article by more than 100 Oxford voters requesting action on the NDAA. This is the, I should know, my wife has told me about this. National Defense Act, which includes a provision that allows Homeland Security to arrest you whether you're a criminal or not. It's scary stuff, so they're trying. That's the warrant. Pleasure of the board to endorse this so we can get it advertised.
So moved.
I'll second for some quick discussion.
Been moved, seconded, discussion? Yes.
Joe, have you done, or will you be doing your infomercial on these warrant items?
Yes, at least 2 weeks before.
You'll be doing that?
And I'm gonna
So-
listen to you this time.
Okay.
All right?
So we can
Don't be
make
afraid to
sure-
interrupt.
Just so we can make sure that everyone attending is
Yes,
is
we'll
educated
get,
on it,
no,
makes it a little
Tony,
bit easier.
I gotta tell you, Tony and I have been doing wondrous things together here.
It's nice to see. That's all, yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
Any other questions? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion
All
carries.
right, thank you. I have 10 copies, and they're all turned to the signature page.
Selectmen's
No,
request?
one
Oh,
more
you
thing,
got
I
one
think.
more?
I had a request for a crosswalk.
North Oxford, I bet.
Yeah, Baptist Church.
Yeah.
They want it painted green, but in accordance with your
Not anymore.
policy,
Has to be done white.
it would have to be white.
It sounds good.
The white is be safer,
Fine.
okay?
But we have to have state
I
highway.
will,
One more
State
thing,
highway.
one more
We
thing.
need to vote on that?
yeah.
I'll make a
Oh,
motion, I'll make a
do we have
motion
to
that
ask
we
the
do
state for
the,
that?
It's
To
nice
do the ladder? Yeah, because the state paints it, so we'll ask them.
Okay,
I
I'll make
need
a
your
motion
vote.
that we ask the state to do the crosswalk the way the board suggested.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion?
Did you make the motion? You seconded it?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, call for vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative.
Thank you.
I don't know
And
why I made the motion.
I don't know why you made a motion either, but.
Just make sure
Hey,
it's
you're
the
the chair,
latter
whatever you
type.
I'm in receipt of a notice
It's
that
getting late, Mike.
that Rebecca Laramie has resigned from the Recreation Commission effective August 27th. Ms. Laramie served the town of Oxford as a member of the Recreation Commission from May 30th, 2001 to August 27th, 2013.
I'll entertain a motion that we send her a letter thanking her for her contributions.
So moved.
In second.
Moved and seconded, discussion being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion carries.
So I'd like to announce that I now have 2 vacancies on the Recreation Commission. Anyone at home who's interested in that, in serving, needs, in serving, period, needs to apply either by coming to the manager's office or fill out the application form on the town's website. And I already did my announcement about the annual picnic. Oh, and then a reminder, special town meeting is Wednesday, October 9th, 7 PM in the Oxford High School Auditorium. The last day to register to vote for town meeting is September 27th. And you can do that at the town clerk's office, which is open from 9 AM to 4:30 PM, Monday through Friday. And on September 27th, the town clerk's office will be open from 9 AM to 8 PM. But don't wait till the last minute. Get out there and participate. That ends my report for September 10th.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Manager. Selectmen's requests.
Thank you, John. Joe, I was talking to an individual the other day, and this person was concerned that at Chafee School, we have a fenced-in playground area out front that the little kids
Yeah.
play in and stuff. And this person was telling me that many, many times during a week, people bring their dogs and let them run around in there and do whatever, and I don't understand why we couldn't like lock that gate, or, you know, I mean, if they're doing their duties in that area, no matter what kind, and some of it's picked up, some of it's not a very healthy environment for little kids to be running around. And so I didn't know if you could check with the school department, or
I
if
can.
that being a town issue.
Was it just during the summer and
No, this individual says it's all year long, that,
even during school?
that people, there's quite a few, according to this person, that seem to like to just let their dogs run around in that area. So if you could check on that, I'd appreciate it. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Mr. Voss?
I'm all set.
Mr. Bertheum?
I have 2 questions. One for town manager. On the resignation of the Recreation Commission, how many people are on that board?
7,
7.
so I have 5 now.
And, Dennis, people who said they complain, or people, why don't they just call the cops on them then? You know, if there's dogs doing, why don't they just?
Because by the time the officers get there, those people are probably gone, you know, so.
Yeah, I'll contact the school department.
I mean, it's not posted or anything, you know, so, you
It's
know.
common sense, you know, some people need
Yeah.
common sense.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, there's no law against stupidity.
We know that.
I'm all set, thank you.
Jared, all set? Okay, I have a couple of items. First of all, for Sean. Sean, I know you said you were gonna see that the signs on the Oxford Green along the sidewalks are removed. I would suggest, as a courtesy to, a lot of them are business signs. I would request that maybe a letter go out to these people, giving them a number of days, 10 days or whatever, to remove them. Otherwise, they will be removed, rather than to just go and take them. I think as a courtesy, we should at least inform them that they're going to be taken down.
We've done that in the past. The zoning enforcement officer has done that in the past. But in this case, where they're not on private property, but on town right-of-way, we'll have to work out who the letter should come from. It's an interesting, because it's interesting jurisdiction problem. We also have the problem, as Selectman Vos has pointed out, with all those signs cluttering up the front yards of businesses too.
Yep.
You pointed out, when you, remember Route 56, it was all the time.
Right. Right.
And it wasn't even related to what was going on at the site.
No, they just drop their advertising signs wherever they want, and, you know.
Not to intervene in the middle of your,
Go ahead.
but Joe, did you talk with
I've talked with her, yeah, she's
talked
going,
with her?
she's going through the process to do that,
Okay, great, thank you, sorry, John.
and I will remind her.
Problem. The other thing I had was the Howard Road. I know that come up tonight in discussion. And I've been approached by 3 people so far that have said, what are we gonna do about the traffic between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock coming out of Howarth Road onto Main Street? There's a long line of people, and they're cutting off, they're going through the neighborhoods to bypass having to wait in line. And suggestions been, why don't we have a light there? Well, I don't know. But I know how long it took us to get a light for Cudworth Road, which was an exit on and off of 395, and that took us about 15 years to get from the state. So if we're gonna be considering the future growth of that area, I would suggest now is the time to put the request in. We all know that the world headquarters for IPG is there. We can all ride by and see those buildings being built. And we can open the newspaper and see all the jobs that they're hiring for. There's gonna be several hundred positions open there. Okay, and there are gonna be other businesses in that area that are expanding. There is undeveloped business land in that area across from IPG. Once the economy starts going the other way in a positive manner, you're gonna see heavy construction of businesses in that area. Fabrico is expanding. I mean, it's a busy area. And I think a light is gonna be warranted there. So I'm wondering, and I yield to you for your suggestion, do we start now? Do we entertain a motion to have our legislators see what they can do about getting us a light there?
You're gonna make me talk about the MUTCD again.
Oh, good, no.
When IPG came to us a year or 2 ago, they were.
Before this last building.
Before this last building, they were expanding. They said they're gonna add 100 or so additional jobs. As part of the site plan review process, I asked IPG to provide a traffic study of that intersection because I knew it was becoming a problem. I knew IPG was gonna be adding these employees and additional business. There'd be more trips, car trips generated. So I asked for them to provide the study, which they graciously did. And in that study, it found that to trigger the need for a traffic control signal, you need to exceed, I think, 2 of the 5 or so warrants in the MUTCD. And I can't pretend to know them off the top of my head what they are. It's volume, it's speed, it's peak hour flow, traffic flow. And as it stood, I think only 1 of the 5 warrants was triggered, not the 2 that were required. And so it doesn't trigger the warrant for a traffic control signal at this point in time. Doesn't mean that it won't in the future, but because that section of Route 12 is owned and maintained by Mass DOT, they will not move on any request for a traffic control signal until it does trigger the warrants for a traffic control signal. So until that time comes, we have what we have out there. Now, I don't know when that time will come. It probably will come, but I don't know when.
It's coming fast, believe me, and I think we all have been through that intersection. We know it's growing fast. And it's a shame that in anticipation of a major problem, we can't start doing something now.
Right.
What about the Regional Planning Commission?
Yeah, we
They get
can't
involved.
even put a request in for a proposal on that. We can't even do that through the
No.
CMHRPC.
No, unfortunately,
Huh.
we can't. Now, what we can do is talk to IPG. And I believe the one warrant that was triggered was the peak hour flow. So that would be that rush hour time. What we can do is talk to IPG and see if they would be amenable to perhaps hiring a detail officer for those hours to direct traffic through that intersection. I know that happens. If you travel through Holden on a weekend, you'll notice that some of the businesses that align Holden's Main Street hire detail officers to let traffic in and out of the businesses along Main Street. So that's happened in other towns do that, and the businesses pay for it. Perhaps IPG we could talk to them, approach them with that idea. It helps them as much as it helps us in getting their employees and
I understand
visitors
that.
through.
But me personally, and I'm not speaking for the board on this, me personally, I would be reluctant to ask IBG to hire a detail officer at $40 an hour every day to manage traffic at a public intersection. That's just my feelings, especially in light of the fact that IPG has been a major business contributor to this community and to the organizations in this town. They most recently have given us over $40,000 for a police cruiser. It costs the taxpayers anything. There are a number of things that they have done. 300th anniversary, $5,000. I mean, I can go on and on. And to put this on them, it certainly wouldn't get my support. And I'm speaking for myself personally.
When were the traffic counts done?
I agree.
Couple of years ago.
2010 timeframe.
Maybe we could get CMRPC to update the traffic counts.
Yeah, we could do that.
That might help us get that second trigger. Because a lot can happen in 3 years.
Yeah, and it will.
And with the new building up, you had 150 new employees.
Well, especially where it takes so long
Takes forever.
to go through the
Just to
process.
get the design approved.
You know, I'll have to ask that question tomorrow if we can,
Yeah, that'd be
because I
great.
got a meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Have they done counts for you yet this year?
No,
No, they usually do them annually.
annually, yeah.
We could have them do, it's three lines that they have to count.
I think the interesting part about IPG is based upon their workload, they're changing their, it could be months on end where everyone's leaving at 4, and then they're leaving at 5, and they're leaving at 4. So it's not, depending on when you do your traffic count, it's gonna vary, because, I know for the longest time, certain departments have been mandatory 10 hours, and all of a sudden now they're saying, well, it's not, now we're gonna get out at 4, and then in a month from now, it's gonna be 4:30, so those times are gonna vary depending on
shift changes. yeah.
shift changes and things of that nature, so that's just something else to consider.
And there's a lot of traffic, and I don't care if you're driving there at 11 o'clock in the morning or 2 in the afternoon. Sometimes trying to get out of that road is, there's so much traffic on that Route 12. It's crazy, and I just can't believe we don't trigger that. But
I think the manager's thoughts about doing
Yeah.
additional traffic counts out there will be a worthwhile
Who would do
endeavor.
the count? Would we do that?
We would hopefully get CMRPC to help us with that,
Right.
or hire a traffic consultant to help us.
I mean, you may be looking at just a change in traffic pattern where the center of town has been so backed up for so long, people are now, that's the alternate route, they're going that way to
They're
Cudworth
taking the
Road.
left turns. They're
That's,
go-
that,
yeah,
And I thought Cudworth Road would relieve that, but I'm
It
not
hasn't.
noticing it.
No.
no.
Okay. That's all I had for,
Thanks, Sean.
thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
I believe that, Alan, you have one more thing?
Thank you, John. Thank you, Chairman Sad. While I was up here before, I neglected to remind people that tomorrow night, the Tercentennial Committee still having an event, part of our celebration. We are going to put on public display for the last time the time capsule from the 1976 bicentennial before it's resealed for the U.S. tricentennial. And we're going to put on public display the items that have been collected from the 2013 time capsule, so people can see what's going to be put out there for 50 years from now. And we're still welcoming any donations from people that might want to include something in the 2013 time capsule. So if they want to come tomorrow night and bring that, more than welcome to do it. We'll be at the Senior Center from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. Free event, public's welcome, and that was basically the only thing I'd forgotten to bring up earlier.
And it's the senior center?
At the Senior
Senior
Center,
Center.
6:30 to 8 o'clock.
Good.
Very good, thank you for that. If there's no further business to come before the board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 9 o'clock.